I've been in dogs since 1991. We breed dogs that we want to train. I was out here in western Nebraska riding Harleys and training dogs. I don't sugarcoat anything, and if you don't like it, tough.
Welcome to another episode of the Flatliner Kennels podcast with Chris Jobman. My name is Elliot. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this today. We ask that you leave us a rating and review and just tell your friends about the podcast. Podcasting, unlike YouTube, is not really an algorithm based, which is really cool. It's just old school word of mouth for the most part. So we ask that you just share this podcast with your friends. And really the best place you can watch this is on Spotify. The video version's on Spotify, and you can actually comment on each episode. So anyway, let's go and get started. Chris, what's going on at the kennels? How's it going?
Hey, Elliot, how are you, buddy? Well, we're busy. It's full swing here. Most of the dogs are back. New ones coming in. You're going wide open. I'm exhausted, actually. It's just starting.
Yeah.
But we got Tanner and I are going to our first HRC test out in Salt Lake. Not this weekend, but the next weekend. And then we head to the Grand. We're going to leave May 1st and probably hit a master test on the way out. We're going to train with Eric at Habitat Flats Kennels for about a week. And then we're going to move into the Grand at Kentucky, pre-train for a week, and then get started on it. So that starts on May 16th.
When are you going to be at Eric's?
May, let's see here, May 3rd-ish, somewhere at May 4th, somewhere in there.
Then for a whole week, are you going to be there?
Yeah, we're going to spend. I think I get there on Monday or Tuesday, and then we're going to stay there until that Sunday, and then we're going to leave on Sunday to go to the Grand to pre-train at the Grand.
Would you guys mind if I came out on that Saturday and brought a buddy and saw you guys? And
come on, let's do it.
That would be awesome.
I
haven't told you that I have canceled. I'm not going to the, what do you call the Master National Amateur? What do you call it? I've heard you have a pet name
It's
for
the
it.
Master National Amateur. I don't want to offend anybody. Everybody's so easily offended.
Well, you don't mind offending me off air.
I call it the fake Master National because it's not the Master National. I mean, I know it means a lot to people. I know amateurs, it means a lot to them, but it's they do a lot of field trial type stuff. The Master National does, and they have the master. They have amateur field trials, and now they got the amateur Master National. But I don't want to call anything bad. I know a lot of people enjoy it, and I respect a lot of people that run it. It's just I don't know why there's two of them, but there is. So
yeah. Well, I was gonna go to that in June, and I decided not to do that. So I'm not really in full train mode, but it'd be cool to come out there and see you guys and take a little video and maybe run Georgie for you guys to make fun of me and criticize me like you always do.
You're an easy target, man.
So you're going to be at Eric's for a week, and then what's your schedule from that point on?
So I go to, let me see, let me get my glasses on. I know everybody loves my glasses. I'm going to run a master test the first weekend of May, and then I'll be at Eric's at Habitat Flats Kennels. I'll get there probably May 4th or 5th, and we're going to train there the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then we'll probably leave on the 10th, and then we'll hit Kentucky that night, and then we'll pre-train in Kentucky 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and we start on the 16th. So how
many dogs do you have that you're going to be taking with you?
I've got 24 dogs signed up for the Grand. So 6 are going for titles. I could have took a few more, but I decided to leave some home. 24 is plenty, and it's the most anybody's running in this Grand, but and it's a different group of dogs. I'm getting a different. My older badasses are kind of getting retired and moving on, and then I got the middle of the road ones that are really, really good, and they're only like 4 or 5 years old. Then I got the young ones that 2s and 3s that are kind of rebuilding the trailer, and they're coming up. So it's a mixed mash of dogs. Like it's like the older ones, the middle ones, and the newer ones, and it's quite the adventure, let me tell you.
So I'm curious about this because the fall Grand, that's like at the end of hunt test season, essentially, where you've been going and grinding and grinding. This one's so early. I mean, I know you after hunting season, you hit it hard, but you haven't really, like, the hunt test season's just started. Is your success rate different between the two? And what are the differences between going into the spring one versus the fall as far as your dogs and the preparation?
It's funny you say that because I have two or three dogs that are unbelievable multi-grand champions that have never passed a spring grand.
Really?
Never have. They got 4 or 5 passes and they pass every fall grand and they don't pass any spring grands. It's the weirdest thing. And I think a lot of it comes back from hunting season. They're just still, and we're training hard every day. And I know hunting season ended a long time ago, but for some reason, those dogs I think that hunted a lot, those are the ones that I think struggle the most in the spring because
they just develop some bad habits during hunting, and you haven't had time to work it all out of them.
Yeah, their nose kind of takes over, and the drag back scent. What we don't have here is our cover is real low here, and because it's April, it's not really growing yet. It's starting to grow, but it's still really low. I think when we head to the Grands and stuff and go down south, I think that cover's taller. So I think the drag back gets those dogs that hunt a lot. I think the drag back gets those in the spring because we don't have a whole lot of drag back scent here because the cover's short. I mean, even when we went to Texas, the cover was short, right? So I think those hunting dogs that, like I said, get hunted a lot and use their nose a lot, I think that drag back affects them in the spring more than it does the fall. Because the fall we've kind of worked out all those bugs and kinks,
Yeah, so you go to Texas pretty much every year, but you didn't this year.
I quit going down there. Our weather, Elliot, to be quite honest with you, is so nice that it's 70 degrees almost every dang day. Well, it's been colder lately, but I don't really need to go down there right now. And when I went down there, what's that?
You didn't go last year either?
Nope, never didn't go last year either. And I'll be honest with you, when we go down there, we take 3 or 4 rigs, and we try to take every dog down there. It is a logistical nightmare. Like it is so expensive. It is a nightmare to go down there, and it's a great place to train. It's so hard to get everybody down there and get going, and there's so much can happen. So I just kind of decided to stay home and work around here. And granted, the weather isn't as nice, but we just put clothes on and go to work. Like today was a little bit chilly. Tomorrow's going to be 70. Like it's hit or miss right now.
Yeah. So I heard all about wildfires, and I wasn't sure. People were actually asking if that affected you. How close were you to the wildfires?
The biggest one that was, what did it end up? 700-some thousand acres. It was humongous. It started about 20 miles northeast of us.
Oh, wow.
So there's a highway that goes, Highway 385, that goes straight north. And what happened was those winds were so bad, Elliot, we had 80-mile-an-hour winds, like for 2 days. It was incredible. And what it was doing, it was knocking down power lines. And that's what started all those fires. And Eileen and I were doing we looked up the largest, and don't quote me on this, but we looked up the largest Colorado wildfire in the history of Colorado, and it was 600,000 acres, something like that, 500. I can't remember how much it was, but it took months to get that many acres. The one in Nebraska, it took 3 days.
Wow.
Because you've been to the Sandhills, right? So it just took off. Like it literally you couldn't stop it. The wind was so bad, you couldn't physically stop it.
It's always windy out there.
This was even worse. Mm-hmm. And it was unbelievable. It was so scary. I feel so bad for those ranchers and stuff up there. I know my oldest son, Caden, he's a rancher, and he knows a lot of other ranchers. And there's some ranchers up there that lost their entire herds, like 1,500 head of cow calves and like pregnant heifers. Like they lost $10 million of cows. Like it was, you couldn't, and there was people that we know that were cutting fences and putting halters on their horses and cutting their fence and just letting them go, then be on Facebook and say, hey, have you seen my 2 horses? We let them go. I don't know where they're at. Just trying to save them.
Gosh. So, were you afraid ever at any point that it was going to come to you, or the direction? Did you know?
No,
okay?
it would have never. To get to us, it would have been unbelievably bad. It would have had to come out. It would have had to have an east wind, northeast wind, at that, and it would never. We don't get those winds like that right now. But I don't think there was no way for it to get. What's that?
Was there any human death in those?
Yeah,
fires?
there was one older lady that tried to get out of her house, couldn't get out fast enough.
Yeah,
and she burned up in her house. It was, and what people don't understand is when it's called the Sand Hills for a reason. And if you've never been there, just imagine sand dunes like the Sahara Desert or whatever, sand dunes with grass on it.
Yeah.
And you've been there. I mean, it looks like a beach. So now what they're really worried about is when those sand hills, there's such a fragile ecosystem that when the wind blows, it blows. There's no root system. Like the roots are really low in the sand. Mm-hmm. And when that starts blowing, you can't stop it. Like you literally can't stop the sand from blowing, and there won't be any grass growing. I mean, it is catastrophic. I mean, I looked it up on Google. Texas, Eileen just said it's like the moon. It's catastrophic. I can't tell you how bad it is. And
so where it burns, it's just straight sand now.
It's straight sand. And now we're waiting for rain, which we're not getting. We haven't had any measurable precipitation since August. It is. I've never seen it this dry in my entire life, ever. And what we're worried about now is Texas is the number one cattle producer in the country. Nebraska is number 2. And we've lost literally 1 million acres of ground and cattle herds. And I mean, it's a bad deal for everybody involved. Like it's unbelievably bad.
There are no more current fires. They're all out though at this
point. No,
right?
Most of them are out. Yeah. They're all contained. They're all out. But it's thank you to the National Guard. I mean, they had the National Guard out. They had every fire department within hundreds of miles are out there. I had clients out there fighting the fires. Like it was unbelievable. They could not keep up with it. You just couldn't do it.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
crazy stuff. Well, tonight we're gonna do a Q&A. We're gonna Q&A session. And remember, if you really want to get your question answered, if you come over to patreon.com/Jobman and sign up over there, those questions go to the top of the list. We always answer those first. And also, you're able to come here. We've got some patrons here watching tonight, and you can watch the live broadcast and comment in the comment section. And Chris and I see the comments and interact with them. And also, we are going to be doing a drawing in the end of October. One person's going to come out this next hunting season for, I can't remember, 2-3 days. And I'm going to be out there at Duck Haven Lodge with Chris, and we're going to hunt and hang out, probably record a podcast. It's going to be awesome. So patreon.com/Jobman. If you want to become a member, we would really appreciate it. It's awesome. It's already been a fantastic deal.
And if I could add something to the Patreon, I didn't know anything about Patreon. I am as computer illiterate as the next. I mean, and you know that it's bad. But what I really like about the Patreon, and it's not about the money at all. I like how the chat starts, and if somebody has a question, like last time we recorded with Freddie, we could literally talk to them live as we're talking and get more stuff worked out. So, I mean, what is it? $10 a month is all. I mean,
yeah.
I drink more of that in Diet Mountain Dew by noon. So, I mean, I wish more people would do it because I like the interaction, the live interaction as we go.
Oh, yeah. So when Freddie was on here, it was like a one-on-one counseling session about the dog. We've never had that before.
Yeah, I like that.
I knew it was going to be cool, but when that was going on where Freddie and Chris were asking the people question and they were live responding on the chat, that's so much more valuable with the helping that dog than just putting up a question on Facebook where Chris doesn't have enough information. So if you really have questions and want to get them answered and get that one-on-one counseling like that's the place to do it for sure.
I really like that. So, and you see Dave behind me? I got Dave here with us.
I know.
You see Dave?
You were talking about the sand hills and the fires, all serious. And I looked over that and I start giggling. And I'm like, he's talking about something serious. I'm giggling because Marstetler is in a little Opie in the background there.
We got our little Dave. Hi, Dave. How you doing? You know the itch?
Oh my gosh! You should get a picture of that and put it on your keychain.
I may have to. Do they make keychains anymore?
Oh, so fun. All right, let's hit our partners real quick, and we'll start the Q&A. Let's start with Mammoth Guardian Dog Crate. If you want a kennel for your dog that's a little bit cheaper, less expensive, not quality cheaper, but less expensive than some of the bigger name brands, Mammoth Guardian Dog Crate. It's mammothpet.com, Guardian 15 for 15% off. It comes with a roll cage attachment where you can put it in the back of your truck, strap it in, and with that metal roll cage attachment, it's every bit as safe as any brand. Or take the roll cage attachment and slip it in to the back seat of your truck. It's a wonderful product. Or in Amazon, you can just search Mammoth Guardian Dog Crate. Chris, you want to talk about Marino Decoys?
Yeah, let's talk about Marino Decoys. A close personal friend of mine named Mike Marino owns Marino Decoys, and he is a fantastic carver. He lives down by Pueblo, Colorado, and he hand carves cork decoys that look unbelievable. You can hunt over them. They're sealed. He can do any species of duck. And what his big claim to fame is, which what I really like, is he does dog urns with these decoys, where you can put your ashes in the urn with shotgun shells that are countersunk in the base, and you can hunt over your dog for the rest of your life. And I know there's a lot of carvers out there. I understand it. I cannot tell you how nice these are. I got a dozen, 2 more dozen coming. My buddies of mine bought 2 dozen, 100. We're hunting over hand-carved decoys, and they are unbelievable. So anybody wants hand-carved decoys, a hand-carved dog urn, give Mike Marino at Marino Decoys a shout-out at marinodecoys.com, and he can help you out. It is an unbelievable product. It really is. And it's personalized. He doesn't have other people make. He does every single one of them himself.
Yeah. Man, speaking of the urn, I can't believe Georgie's turning 7 in a couple weeks.
Stop it.
Oh, my gosh.
Stop it.
Too fast.
It's unbelievable.
Thinking about that next pup.
I know. I was running red the other day, and now we're training red puppies right now, too, and they're fantastic. God, they're so good. So Flash DNA runs strong with red, because obviously he's Red's son, but his puppies, because Flash is the best. Flash and Jet are the best producing dogs I've ever seen in my entire life. And we got a pile of Flash puppies here. And now all the red puppies are acting like Flash puppies. And it's fantastic to watch. I mean, he's turned out to be a great stud dog himself.
Yeah. You haven't had a litter of Flash puppies for a while, have you?
I haven't. We're actually getting ready. Eileen's driving to Abilene, Kansas tomorrow to take our dog Faith down there, who is an HRCH master hunter out of 2 Grand Retriever champions. She's chocolate, and we're going to breed hers because Flash's semen is no longer viable for side by side or natural. He's going to be 11 in 3 weeks.
So there won't be any more Flash pups.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I have a pile of frozen semen on Flash.
Oh,
so Eileen is driving all the way to Abilene, Kansas. I got Flash semen on him. I got Flash semen in Lincoln and in Abilene, Kansas at Symbion, and she's driving all the way to Symbion tomorrow, drop off Faith, and we're going to breed Flash to Faith. So anybody out there looking for a super well-bred hunt test breeding out of Flash, they'll be black puppies but chocolate factored. That should be a fantastic litter. We're going to start having a few more puppies out of our kennel this year. We kind of backed off in the breeding a little bit, and now we're going to start ramping it up again. So we're going to have some super nice litters coming out. Flash has got some, Faith, and we got some incredible litters coming out of him too, and some other ones.
Yeah, and the cool thing about your litters, it's like there are great breeders out there, but as who you are with Flatlander, you can look at the qualities every single day and pair specific combinations, which is, I'm guessing that's not the normal. I mean, it's like, oh, this dog's got this title and this bloodline, this dog's got this title and this bloodline, let's put them together. But you're like, ooh, I see these qualities in this dog. If I know Flash, and what would I want to pair him with? And that's something different.
Yeah,
that's something different.
And as you know, we're not breeders. We're dog trainers. And the only reason why we really breed our females, and our females are unbelievably well bred, got all the good titles. I mean, they're fantastic dogs. I don't keep an average dog. I can tell you that right now. They all got to be next level. And when we do our breedings, like I always say, those are the dogs that we personally want to train. We're not just a normal breeder that's just putting 2 pup dogs together to have a litter to make money. That's not granted, the money for selling the puppies is nice. Don't get me wrong. We want to train those dogs. That's why we're putting them together. Like you said, I am mixing and matching dogs. Like if one dog has, a strength, I want to put like Flash's strength with Faith's weakness, Faith's strength with Flash's weakness. We want to, we don't want to just throw them together. Like we try to complement each other, as good as we can.
Yeah.
And it works out good. A lot of our puppies that come out of our kennel that are in the kennel right now being trained they're some of our best ones we got.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get ready for the Q&A.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. This one comes from one of our patrons, Jared Hoffman. He says, I've noticed on this and other podcasts that when handlers bring up specific training challenges, such as me, you do a great job of recommending drills to address those problems, which is why your podcast is my favorite. Thank you, Jared. And how your platform is superior than the rest. I know the honest answer is always it depends on the dog, but I think where a lot of handlers struggle is understanding what implementation looks like over time. Could you talk through what that typically looks like in your program? Like how many days or sessions you'd stay on a concept, what kind of improvement you expect to see early, and what criteria you use to decide whether the progress you should stay on it or simplify. So I think he's saying if you have a problem, you do a certain drill or implement a strategy, your mindset about how quickly the strategy works, whether to simplify, whether to progress.
Okay, it's kind of a hard question to follow, but I'll give it my shot. Thank you for listening to the podcast, Jared, and liking it so much. We enjoy doing it. And we are very honest. That's one of that's one of my many personality flaws is if it pops in my head, I say it. I'm so bad at that. But anyway, I guess when you're teaching your dog a new task or a new drill or a new concept or anything like that, one thing I don't do is I don't overdo it, and I don't shove it. I just say we're trying to teach cheating singles, right? And let's just say that dog struggles. Obviously they're going to struggle for a little while to learn the concept of cheating singles. I don't hit on cheating singles every single day because you got to have a good balance in your program. If you work on cheating singles every day and the dogs are worried about getting out of the water at the correct time, they end up staying in the water too long and you've overdone it. Now you can't get the dog out of the water. So once I realize the dog understands the concept, I will move on. And then I will come back to that concept. I have them all in my head. There's so many of them, marking concepts and blind concepts. There's just so many of them. And if you follow us on Facebook, the Flatlander Kennels Facebook page, not the podcast. Well, you can follow the podcast page too. I'm doing the dog of the day now. And people are loving that. I used to do that years ago. I brought it back out. And if you watch those, we're working on marking concepts, over and unders and hip pockets and flower pots. And if you watch how I do that and teach the dogs, we hit all the concepts. And then throughout the year, we come back and we work on them. And water cheating, that sort of thing is something you got to work on all the time, but you can't overdo it. So I guess my point is I wait till the dog is proficient at it and understands the concept and then gets it, understands it pretty well. Then I move on to a different one. And then I move on to a different one. Then I come back to that one. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right,
you can't just hammer on it cheating singles for 3 weeks, because then if you do that, some dogs love it. If you just hammer on the same sort of – hammer is not the right word, but work on the same sort of concept over and over and over and over. Some dogs love it. A lot of dogs don't, especially when it comes to water, the cheaty stuff, the down the shores, the stuff that really is mentally tasking, that really involves a lot of mental thought process from the dog and a lot of mental effort. You got to be careful not to overdo those mental effort tasks, because you will mentally melt your dog down. You will if you and this, I know Eric probably going to listen to this and he's going to hate me for it. And this is a prime example. Eric's dog Ammo, one of the best yellow dogs ever in the hunt test game. 10 grand passes, MNH4. He's got all of it. He's got all the titles. And when Eric first started working for me, I had a really, really nice tech pond in front of my house. And every day after work, Eric would go out there and work ammo on that tech pond, hitting all the, just running lines and doing tune-up drills, and just because he didn't really have a whole lot of technical water when he first started working for me. So this was all new to him, right? So he takes ammo out there and does that. To this day, well, ammo's retired now, but to this day, you could walk ammo out to that tech pond and you'll say dead bird. He'll be like, oh crap. He'll just look to the ground. He wants nothing to do with that pond. He wants nothing to do with that pond. So it's not Eric's fault. He just didn't know any better. And because ammo was a psycho. Like, he moving at the line, he's huffing and puffing, and he's moving. He's a beast of an animal. Physically, mentally, beast of an animal. That's a prime example of overdoing it, because no matter how physically tough your dog is or how mentally tough you think your dog is, when you overdo something, they will never forget. Because once you've crossed that line, they're like, I'm done. F off. I'm done. I don't even want to do it. And so to this day, I talked about that one dog I had trouble with, cheating one time, and she would flip on her back in a test. I mean, so we overdid it. And to this day, ammo has not forgot that. If you put ammo in a situation at a test, even at a test situation, if that pond looks like my tech pond, he's like, oh man, you can see him getting nervous. And I'm not saying anything bad about Eric or ammo. That is one mistake that I have made, and we've all made it that train dogs this long, that if you overdo something, you're mentally going to wear your dog out. So if you're going to if you just say you're going to do cheating singles, and you make it up in your mind that I'm going to do cheating singles this week, what's a really good idea is do cheating singles on, let's just say Monday, do therapy marks on Tuesday, which are just nice singles, go get them. Back to your waterwork cheating singles on Wednesday, back to your therapy marks on Thursday. Give them a break mentally. If you don't, you are going to have a shell of an animal. So I don't know if I answered his question or not, but that's how we do it here.
We've got a question off the Patreon chat. Wayne is asking, he's got a question about the frozen semen. Does the vet keep it? Is there a fee, or is it a one-time cost, and how long is it good for?
Okay, so we use Symbion in Kansas, and we use Hillside in Lincoln. Hillside, right? Hillside in Lincoln, Symbion in Kansas, and we got Dr. Green in North Platte's got some of Breaker semen and some of those dog semen too. You have a collection fee, and they do a DNA test on them. They do all the DNA profiling. They do all that. So you have a collection fee your very first time. They have to get it all. It's a sperm bank. Like, it is not just a fly by night, throw it in the freezer. This is a nitrogen deal. It's really fancy. It's very sophisticated. And so they do a DNA. You get your first sample. You get it taken. It costs you more to get it set up, right? It costs you more to get your first initial setup. And then every year they charge you like per dog and like they charge you X amount of dollars for 0 to 10 breedings, X amount of dollars for 10 to 20 breedings, X amount of dollars, 20 to 30. So however much storage you're using at their facility, they charge you for. And as far as I know, that semen lasts forever. As far as I know, don't quote me on that, but it lasts longer than you're going to be alive. And I've got a pile of semen on all of our really good stud dogs. I wish I had more on Jet and Breaker, but I really don't. I got 7 or 8 on them. I got probably 40 on Flash.
So when was it that Breaker passed away?
Oh man.
Quite a while, right?
Long time.
So why aren't you breaking that out and doing? It seems like people would be dying to get a hold of those pups.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. I told Eileen the other day, I said, I'm gonna breed Faith to Breaker. She's like, you sure? Here's the thing about Breaker. Breaker, phenomenal animal, maybe the best one I've ever touched. Jet, Flash, Breaker, they're all the same dog. O'Malley, all the same dog. I think Breaker was a beast of an animal. I'm talking beast. But for some reason, when you bred Breaker to I don't want to say weaker dog. That's not what I'm looking for. he just didn't produce as well as Flash does, if that makes sense. Okay.
Right.
Flash is a different monster. He is the best producing animal I've ever seen in my life, and it's not even close. And
meaning his pups are just generally, they're going to be quality.
Him and Jet, man, like I tell people, you can breed them to a possum and get an HR title. I ain't kidding you. It's incredible. Breaker's not like that. Breaker is really good with a average to high end female, and he throws great puppies. I mean, great puppies. I'm just going to Flash, and I'll be quite honest with you. I'm going to Flash because nobody knows who Breaker is.
All right.
And I'll be quite honest with you. I'm going to Flash because Flash sells puppies. I got 3 messages last week wanting Flash puppies.
Sure, I bet.
Like from random people I don't even know. Like just random people. Because everybody knows who he is. So I'm going to Flash for one, the best producing dog I've ever seen. 2, marketable like crazy. People love him. And so we're going to, so it's going to be Flash to Faith. So listen to this. Flash to Faith. Faith's mother is Isla, who is Red and Georgie's mom.
Oh, wow.
So it is going to be a lot like the Flash Isla breeding.
Which was phenomenal.
So that's kind of why I'm doing it too, because I'm trying to, and like you said, I put a lot of thought into my breeding, and I just don't throw them together because I could breed them. I could breed her to Vader or Red, or not Red. I guess say mom, Clutch. Any of these great dogs I have here, Maverick. I got all these great dogs here, but as phenomenal as the Flash Isla breeding was, this is as close as we can get to it. Because it's an Isla daughter. So,
who was the stud?
The sire was Barley. He was a 3-time Grand Retriever champion, Master Hunter, M&H, big chocolate dog, Barley. Yeah. That was Faith's dad. So this is as close to Flash Isla repeat breeding as we can get. So that's why we're doing it. And now don't kid yourself. I am going to be breaking out some Jet semen and some Breaker semen probably this year, and I'm really looking forward to those puppies.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another question off of Patreon. Jeff at Patreon says, I've been watching the Dog of the Day videos and have a few questions. Are you purposefully doing crosswind marks most of the time, or is that just how it shakes out when you're working on a recording? What's the percentage of downwind versus crosswind that you do? Are you teaching the concepts on mowed grass and then adding more features and factors to them later? Out of all the concepts, over and under, down the shore, hip pockets, converging, flower pots, etc., which don't you work on, since judges don't usually set them up in AKC versus or slash HRC? I know there's a lot there.
Okay, let's break that down into.
All right. Okay, first one, are you purposefully doing crosswind marks most of the time, or is that just how it's shaking out on the recordings?
Well, one, we live in western Nebraska. The wind's constantly blowing this time of year. I try to run straight downwind if I can, but just like I answered that other guy's question a little bit ago, we got to have a balance. So we do downwinds. I really like to teach a dog how to fight the wind, and that's fighting the wind is you can do that with throw the mark into the wind or down with the wind. You're still learning. They're still learning how to fight the wind. Like if you throw it with the wind, say you're at 12 o'clock and you're throwing to 1 o'clock and the wind's blowing left to right? I'm not letting them fade to 3 o'clock and win that bird. They've got to stay in, they can't fade with the wind. And then I throw it into the wind to teach them to go on the right side of the gun, the correct side of the gun. So we do a little bit of everything. Now, I will tell you, fighting the crosswind, if you have a left to right crosswind and you throw your mark right to left, that is a really hard memory bird to figure out. And we do that a lot because it takes more effort for the dog to fight the wind to stay on the correct side of the gun. With that being said, you got to be careful with that because if you have a dog that likes to hug the gun on a mark, right? They almost all do, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you have a dog that likes to hug the gun, if you are constantly throwing your bird into the wind, okay, that dog will hug the gun, and then when it goes under the arc of the mark, and then it smells the bird and goes out and picks it up, right? You follow me?
Yep.
Now you're teaching your dog to hug the gun. You see what I'm saying? They hug the gun and they get rewarded. Because the wind's blowing left to right, the mark's going right to left. They hug the gun, they smell the bird, they go out and get it. So now you're teaching your dog to hug the gun and get rewarded. So we also throw the bird with the wind as far as we can. So these dogs that like to go under the arc of marks, which we have a lot of them that do that, they go under the arc. If they go under the arc of the mark on a downwind bird thrown left to right with the wind, then they're not fading with the wind. They're going under the arc. Now it's up to them to circle out into the wind and find the bird. So you're essentially teaching that dog to hunt away from the gun. Does that make sense? Right. So it's a fine line. You got to do both. You got to do both. And we do both. I don't like to run into the wind, and occasionally we do that as well because it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Next part of the question, are you teaching the concept on mowed grass and then adding in more features and factors to them later?
No. We teach right now our cover's low. It's not mowed by any means, but it is low. And so we're teaching all them concepts right now on the shorter cover. And then once the cover grows up, then we'll have more cover and it'll be harder to get to the bird. But you can teach it on mowed grass if you'd like, but we just don't do that because here's the thing: we have throwers, and our throwers. If you're using wingers, it's really hard to teach a dog to stay on the correct side of the gun with a winger because our throwers, if you watch Dog of the Day, will step out to push them dogs where they need to go, and so we're not breaking down their momentum and handling them online. If you have wingers, you're gonna have to stop the dog and handle them online, but now you're breaking momentum. So
last part of the question, out of all the concepts, over and under, down the shore, hip pockets, converging, flower pots, are there any of them that you don't work on knowing that they don't show up in the tests?
No. But with that being said, I don't work on flower pots enough because I can't stand them. Why can't you stand them? I don't like flower pots. And a flower pot is you got the gun, you have one mark goes right to left, one mark goes left to right, like a flower pot. And you'll see those in tests a lot that when clubs don't have a lot of help, they can throw flower pots because you got one person in the station can do both marks.
Right.
So, and I don't work on those enough. I hate doing it. I don't like flower pots, especially like 150, 200, 225 yard flower pot is so hard because there's just no room for error for the dog. There's no room to hunt. Mm-hmm. So I don't work on those as much because I don't like them and I need to work on them more. And my motto is if you're not very good at free throws, you need to practice free throws. So I work on every concept. Now, leading up to a test, I know a lot of judges, I've run underneath them 100 times, and I know they have tendencies, or I know a club doesn't have many helpers, something like that. So I know, you may have two marks coming out of one holding blind. So I do that a lot too, just knowing where I'm going.
Yeah. Our next question is from Walter, and it's off of the Patreon chat board here. He says, I've been watching the Dog of the Day videos, and they are great. Thanks for those. As I view them, I am wondering if you have a specific order for teaching advanced concepts, something akin to a flow chart for the concepts. I'd be interested to know if you teach them as building them, like adding on to the next concept, or do you just do whatever you want? Answer that, then I'll go into the next one.
Okay. When I'm teaching concepts, I'll start with like the easier concepts working up to the harder ones. You don't want to start with a harder concept and then work your way down. Start with an easier one. And when I say easy is all relative, right? What I think is easy, you may not think is easy. What you think is easy, I may not think is easy. Or the dog will tell you what's easy and what's not. So go by what your dog does. But I'll start with and to me, flower pots, over and unders, and big down the shores are really hard concepts to teach because especially like a down the shore, because the dog has to really mentally and physically put effort into that. And some dogs are really good in the water, and some dogs they want out as fast as possible. So they're hard to teach. So I'll do maybe like a hip pocket that's wide open, wide open hip pockets, and then gradually tighten them up. Maybe start your flower pots short at 100 yards or less, so you have big separation, and then go longer. So like I said, I start with the easier concepts and work my way up to the harder ones.
Yeah, and that pretty much answers the rest of it. Yeah, I think that answers Walter's.
Yeah.
Walter's
and I tell you what, I'm really enjoying doing what I'm doing right now. I don't know if everybody's watched those or not, but if you have not watched the Dog of the Day videos, get on my Facebook page and like them and watch them. I'm not a very good speaker or drawer or any of that sort of thing. And our Dog of the Day videos, I've had actually a couple of people comment and say, how many times did you have to run that to get the dog to do that? That's not how it works. If you come out and watch this video, Eileen videos and Tanner videos, if you watch this video, whatever that dog does, that dog does. Unless that dog just totally explodes mentally, whatever that dog does, and we record it and we post it. And it's funny because one of the reasons why I quit doing the Dog of the Day was, for one, was time, and two was I started getting messages. When am I going to see Sparky? When on Dog of the Day? When am I going to see Sparkles on Dog of the Day? When am I going to? They're all going to get there. It's just everybody's got to be patient. We got a lot of dogs here to train, and we're all going to try to get there. And some of the stuff we're going to do on Dog of the Day now is we're going to get a lot of Tanner's young dogs, and we're going to go through the tee, and we're going to go through swim by, and we're going to go through pattern by. We're going to do all of that stuff. We're going to do all of those. So,
awesome.
And it's funny. Everybody wants their, so it's funny. Everybody wants their dog on the Dog of the Day. Everybody let's run a Dog of the Day, unless that dog doesn't do well, and I post that. You're like, well, you could have done a better video. You could have done it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
It's just the real. If it's real, it's going on there.
And that is a fact. It is. We can actually do it live because that's how it does. That what you see is what happens. There's no rehearsing.
Well, you've been putting a lot of them on Facebook, guys. Don't forget that Facebook group, Flatliner Kennels Facebook group with Chris Chapman. He's been posting a lot of Dog on the Days over there.
Yeah.
So go and check those out. It's great stuff. It really is. All right, let's move on. This one comes from Chris Barron. I believe this one's off the Facebook group. I introduced birds, quail, pigeons, ducks, and geese in walking fetch, but don't negatively reinforce with the birds unless there is a fundamental error. Fetch, heel, sit, hold. If the dog is slow to fetch, come to heel, or drops the bird before I take it. I say here, walk 4 or 5 paces away, about face, walk swiftly toward the same bird, and when I get close, I apply strong momentary collar pressure. Throw my hand towards the bird while commanding fetch, and keep walking briskly. I do give some grace on the goose. Doesn't take many corrections if collar pressure is high enough. If dog is through FTP and drops the bird, it's collar pressure plus here. I don't care if it brings the bird back on the correction. It's an obedience issue to me at that point, not a hold issue. What are your thoughts on handling it in that manner?
I would highly, highly, highly not recommend forcing on a goose. Don't do it. And I've had clients do it, and dogs have to learn how to pick up a goose, especially a Canada goose. Snows are a little different. They're small, specks are small, but a big Canada goose, do not force on those. They have to learn how to pick those up. And what ends up happening is if you try to force on a goose, all they're going to do is get super, super nervous because they can't pick the bird up fast enough for your liking. And the dog gets super nervous. And then they start panicking. And next thing you know, they associate that panic with a goose. The best way to do a goose is just throw it as a fun bumper and let them learn how to pick it up. Learn how to pick it. Be careful forcing on a bunch of birds too, because you don't want any negative connotation with a bird, right? So if your force fetch is good enough with your bumpers and like pigeons or chuckers, small birds, the bigger the bird, the less force you need to do. the more encouraging you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, you imagine forcing George on a swan? Like, no, you don't do that. They learn how to pick them up. So let the dog get comfortable with the bird. They may grab them and don't expect a dog with a goose to grab it by the breast, like a perfect hold, like a bumper. They're just not big enough. Or they may grab it by the wing bone. They may grab it by the hip bone. Who cares? As long as they're bringing that big bird back. So be careful.
I've got Georgie's first goose hunt on video, and man, I was way too uptight with her. She was 1.5 years old, and we like a 6-7 man limit of geese on the spawn. There was another dog working there too, but she was trying her best to pull these things up the bank, and I was just wanting perfection out of her. I wanted her sitting beside me. I wanted her holding the bird, and you can just, you know how I do, like over commanding because there's people around, and you can just see her. I watched the video. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's trying everything she can. It's these little Georgie and these big birds, and I watch it, and I'm just like, oh, what a fool.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I don't even care. When it comes to goose hunting, yeah, it would be nice for them to come in and sit down and hold it, but as long as they get it to me, I don't care. They know what force fetch is. They know they pick up a duck just fine. They pick up a bumper just fine. I just bring the goose back. I don't care. Right. I really, really don't. Yeah. You got to be really careful. Like I said, I can't. Now, I also see a lot of people when their dogs are maybe just coming out of force fetch, or you have a nervous dog, even if it's older dog, and say the dog drops a bird when they're coming in to heel, they drop it. Well, automatically everybody grabs a collar, fetch, here, fetch. Now the dog is super nervous, doesn't pick up the bird worth a damn. All you got to do is take that bird, toss it out 4 or 5 feet, say their name, pick it up, and come in. They just drop the bird. They accidentally drop the bird. If your dog is force fetched properly, it accidentally dropped the bird, and you start adding pressure, they can't pick it up fast enough, so they just get super, super nervous. When it was just an oops. It wasn't them being disobedient. It was just an oops. Right. When you start adding pressure, and if they're not picking it up, you're thinking, oh, the dog's being disobedient. No, the dog is cornered and it's super nervous. If you take that bird, just toss it out 4 or 5 feet, say their name, or even say fetch at that point, I guarantee that runs out, pick the bird, comes out in the heel, everything's fine. You're making it like my buddy Rhett Riddle always said, it's only a fight if you make it a fight.
Yeah.
And did I answer all this question?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
One thing on my next dog, and even as I'm working with Georgie, that I'm going to do a better job on, that I see all of you pros do, is the calm demeanor. Like, you're the alpha, you're in charge, but it's a calm, patient alpha demeanor versus all of that nervous energy that's just so counterproductive. And I think that amateurs, I mean, the really good amateurs obviously get that, but the ones like me, they're just getting into it, and it's also new. It's such a detriment, that nervous energy.
It is, and I see it on videos. People will send me videos, and the dog is 100 yards, 150 yards away. They're like, "Good dog!" Like, the dog doesn't even care. Like, you're just talking to talk. And then when it comes to the heel, they're like, "Here, heel, sit, give, drop, hold, sit." I mean, like, whoa, hang on a second. They don't even know what you just said. You're saying that because you're just talking.
Yeah. Nervous energy.
And they tune you out.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's do 2 more. These are pretty cool questions. This one's Brian Jones. Advice for building a small tech pond. Best bang for your buck. 1 to 2 dog amateur.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
I would do a Y. And so what I mean by that is you have your pond, whether it's circular or rectangular, and then I would come out and I would come from one end of the shore and just go out and just do an actual Y, like just a Y. And then, so now you got 2 points to work off of. You can do re-entries. You can do down the shores. You can do all those things. If you had one thing to do, I would probably put a Y in your tech pond, because you got everything you need. You got everything you need. You can go for different angles, and you got it all.
Nice. What would something like that cost to have done?
Oh man, depends on where you live. Thousands.
What about where you live?
Thousands.
How many thousands?
Thousands.
How many thousands? 10, 20?
Probably
8?
Tens of thousands.
Really?
It all depends on where you live and what your soil's like. If you're in Missouri, it's really, really rocky. It's going to cost you a lot more than it is here, because we're sand. Everything moves here really easy. Usually a machine is going to cost you anywhere from $150 to $250 an hour for dry work.
Oh, wow. Good.
An hour.
Wow.
You know how long it takes to do that? Depending on the size of it. And it's funny that you brought that up because that beautiful tech pond I had in the front of my house, it's gone now. Wait till you see this pond. It's gone.
What? It's gone?
It's gone. So I took, everybody's like, what are you doing? You're crazy. I'll be honest with you, Elliot, that tech pond was great. I should call it the ammo pond, but that tech pond it's gone now. I left the points in it off the south side of it, but all those islands are gone. I had to push them down. I pushed it to the north. I've spent the last 2 weekends with my excavator. I've planted 20 trees out there. They're not going to live, but I put 20 trees out there, and I put 5 telephone poles up on dirt. And it's going to be it's going to be a foot to 2 foot deep across the entire thing, and grass growing up in it with the trees and downfall, a telephone pole. I mean, it looks like flooded timber.
Oh, that's cool.
It's going to be super, super cool. It's super cool. Neat. Yeah.
All right. Let's do this last one. Eric Johnson, what advice do you have for a guy starting a kennel for gun dog training that has 13 years of experience already, but just started doing hunt tests last year?
Well, 13 years experience.
Number one, let me give him the first piece of advice. Don't name it Muddy Puddle Kennels, because that's what you always say. That's the phrase you always use.
Muddy Puddle Kennels. So, of his 13 years, is that 13 years of doing his own dogs, or is that 13 years with another pro? So there's a big difference. And I've actually thought about doing this, having Tanner come on here, on my assistant,
Yeah.
Because he was out on his own in Oklahoma for a little while. And he's like, I've had enough. He wanted to come work for me to learn more, because he realized he didn't know what he knew. Like, he didn't know what he didn't know. I will tell you, training dogs for somebody else is extremely expensive. Hold on, let me put this back. If you do it right, it is extremely expensive. Truck, trailer, insurance, grounds, kennels, food. I just unloaded $9,000 of dog food today. If that tells you anything. So
that's great.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I could give him advice is go slow, build slow. When I first started my business a long time ago, I grew really fast. It exploded on me, and it caused problems. Financially, it caused problems to keep up, right? Build. Now that's all kind of leveled out, but start slow, build slow. You got to be very, very honest. A lot of people don't like it, but you need to be honest with them and tell them the truth. I have a lot of people that call me, because we're $900 a month, and I have people that call me and they're like, "Well, my buddy, and our basic gun dog program here is 4 to 6 months, depending on the dog, because we get a lot of dogs that do waterfowl and uplands. We live in pheasant country, so it's 4 to 6 months depending on the dog." And I always tell people that it's 4 to 6 months. Well, I talked to another guy who's $700 a month, and he said he could get it in 3 months. I'm like, good, go that way. But
go to that
when
guy.
you're done, you'll call me. Because if anybody tells you that they can get everything done in 3 months or 4 months, they're lying, because they don't know the dog. They have no idea the dog. So when they tell you that, they're trying to get your business. And then at 3 months, when you expect the dog to be done, they're like, "Oh, we're going to need another month. And then we're going to need another month." So I'm just very, very honest when I tell people right off the bat, I don't know. How long is it going to take? I don't know. 4 to 6 months. All depending on if we can get it done at 4, great. If not, dogs go on their terms, not ours. They don't have a time frame. So I guess just the biggest thing about training other people's dogs is you have to have a secure way to transport them. The worst I've ever seen, Elliot, and Eileen was with me. We went to Giddings, Texas, years and years and years ago, and it was a downpour. We were at the hotel, and it's a downpour. and there was a small-time pro there. I'm not bashing small-time pros, but I am going to bash this. He had a flatbed trailer with 10 plastic Walmart dog crates screwed to that trailer with drywall screws. You were going to pay him to train your dog?
Yeah.
No. I mean, that dog, they were sitting in the rain. They were getting wet. If he'd have gotten a wreck, they all would have died. I mean, you don't know. So when you're starting out, buy the best equipment you can. I'm not saying get you a $150,000 trailer and truck. I'm not saying that. Buy the best equipment you can and make your kennels the best you can, the safest you can, the cleanest you can. Because here's the thing is we want a big new deck on our house. We want a big new deck. Big new deck doesn't make you money. So you need to invest your money back into the business if you can and gradually upgrade to what you need. Feed the best food that you can feed, have the best equipment that you can have, the best kennels that you can have. Because let's face it, the people that own these dogs, they're family, right? The clients become family. The dogs are their family. We are paid to board and take care of these animals the best we can. The training is just a byproduct. Because if you have crappy kennels and your dogs are always getting hurt and getting sick and blah, 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 you're not going to end up training. They're going to be sick. So if you take care of them physically, take care of them mentally, give them a good place, good food, good place to sleep, all that stuff, they're going to work better for you. If you cut corners on your business, whether it be equipment, kennels, all that crap, people will notice and they will go someplace else.
And I think one thing I've noticed with you, and especially with your size of a kennel, is the organization. It's like every bumper has a place. It's like if you weren't organized in what you do, you couldn't function efficiently. And that's one thing you excel at.
There's no way. You couldn't get it done. One little hiccup in our day will ruin our entire day. Because if one client shows up unannounced or equipment breaks or something, and then you're like, oh shit, we got so much to do that now we're getting in at 7:00. So manage your time. Time management is of the utmost important, because if you have good equipment and you're organized, you spend time dog training. You don't spend time organizing. Just stay organized.
That's right.
So I guess I didn't know if I answered this question. I was kind of ranting right there.
I think so. No, I think.
But I will tell you is just be honest. Don't pull any shady crap. What I mean by that is don't try to steal other trainers' dogs, which happens all the time. That's the most unprofessional thing in the world to do. And if there's another trainer if there's another trainer that a client calls you and they're pulling a dog out from another trainer that you know and you respect that trainer, you owe it to that trainer to call that trainer professionally, professional courtesy. And too many of these young guys out there will just grab anything they can because they're trying to make ends meet. And I understand that. I get it. But this is a very small world out there, and you don't want you don't want that reputation. So just be careful, and I wish you all the best. It is a very hard life. Everybody sees the trucks and the trailers and the grounds. They're like, oh, this is great. Look at you. They don't understand at 9:00, I'm entering a hunt test. I'm doing billing and I'm answering the phone, and it's constant. So,
right. It's a lot.
Invest your time and your money back into your business, and it'll pay off.
All right. Well, that was a good one. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to the patrons that were here and all the questions. Remember, you can join us at patreon.com/Jobman, and we would love to see you guys there. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks from this episode with some more content for you guys. So let's go ahead and shut it down, Chris.
All right, guys. Thank you for the questions. Thank you, Elliot. We'll see everybody at the line. Take dead aim.